as well, and Jeff Farmer, there's been villains.
But without doubt, always the Anzac Day game is something special for me. It's the highlight of my football year, and particularly this year to go along and watch Collingwood win is the first time in my presidency at the Magpies was fantastic. But really, it was all about what the Anzac tradition is all about, and it was a great day for football, and it was certainly my highlight to round 11.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody look as if they're running as quickly as Andrew McLeod runs, and certainly not when they're in pursuit of another player. Lots of players run quickly towards goal. McLeod doesn't just run quickly, he runs gracefully. He is worth the price of the ticket alone.
Without a doubt, the outstanding game and highlight for me was the Geelong-Carlton clash. A, because Geelong won, and B, because it was a great game, and C, more importantly, hoping and dreaming that Carlton could win the spoon.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. Just a taste of what is to come in the next 2 hours as we sit back and reflect on what has been a wonderful 12 rounds of football in season 2002. We've spared no expense here. We've assembled the biggest names in the game to have a look on what really has been an amazing 12 games of footy. And who better to sit alongside me than Brownlow medalist Jared Hilley. Jared, welcome, and looking forward to the next couple of hours.
Good on you, Gary, yeah, and great to be here, and it is going to be a celebration of the season so far. We've picked out the best images we can find, the highlights, the lowlights, the controversies, and I guess a man who was involved in perhaps the lowlight of the season to date joins us on the panel as well, and James Hurd, the 96 Brownlow medalist. James, welcome on board.
Jared. Thank you very much. Great to be here. Looking forward to the next 2 hours.
We're looking forward to having you actually do something, Jim. We know you've sat on your behind for the last 6 or 7 weeks,
Thanks,
but it's not a Brownlow medal sit in here. Mick Moldhouse, the coach of the Magpies, is here, and Mick, safe to say you never really threatened for a Brownlow.
Got close with 1 vote in 12 years, so that was as close as I got, but I've rubbed shoulders with a lot of them. Yeah, and I think some of them actually won because they were playing on me. So.
You scared a few of them too, Mick. Tell us about your personal highlight for this season. It's been a great drive for Collingwood from bottom to almost the top, but from a coaching perspective.
I think this time last year we had 2 sides that were pretty dominant, Brisbane and Essendon, and this year we've got a number of sides that could lay claim to be the former side, and it goes down to 15th place. They're only 2.5 games out of the 8. That's the evenness.
Yeah, no question. And James, Essendon in that mix, of course, but for yourself, what's the thing that's caught your eye?
Great game in round 8. Brisbane v Collingwood was a great game. I think Collingwood, the underdogs, got over the line, and great to see a physical, intense game, but the skills under pressure were just sensational.
Could you pick that up in the box, Mick? Can you enjoy a game of footy?
Well, that particular game we could, because we had a lot of talk about flooding and so forth. This game was a real purist game, and I felt pretty confident that the game was something that everyone wanted to watch, and it was, as it turned out, we won the 4 points, but more importantly, I think football won.
Rick, can I take you back 10 years ago? I know in the last couple of days you've reflected on a pretty significant moment. This national game is very much in perspective at the moment. We'll take a look at the AFL ladder shortly, but pretty big moment.
Fantastic. We celebrated the 1992 premiership, first one outside of Victoria. John Worsfold led the side, is now the current coach, and we all had a great time. It was something to very much remember and look at the old faces and have a chat about things that took place.
Brings back some horrid memories for me, I've got to be honest.
Yes, Worsfold and Malthouse, it was a feared combination. Did you leave with any scars at all, and if so, were those scars healed over the weekend?
There's no scars. No, we made a decision, match committee, and John accepted those decisions, and so the medical staff, mind you, I think a lot was out of proportion in regard to the actual, how it took place. The medical staff had a fair say.
James, let's have a look at the AFL ladder, and for a long time we've said we've embraced this national competition, but I've got to say we've got no choice. This is after the completed round 12.
Well, 4 non-Victorian teams and 4 Victorian teams, so it looks like, well, the odds say there could be an all interstate grand final, and that would be quite remarkable at this stage of the year.
Are you one of the people celebrating Carlton being 16th on the ladder?
No, definitely not. I'm a pretty big rat for Carlton. I'm a big rat for for Brett Ratton, sorry, and the way he goes about his business. But just as long as when they play Essendon, they're not that strong, I'm not too worried where Carlton sit.
For a long time now, the footy public have, I think, said that they're happy for national competition, but they've never faced the prospect of an interstate grand final, Mick.
No, they haven't. They've had sides. We've had Adelaide win, West Coast have won, Sydney have played off. Port have done very well in the Wizard Cup, the pre-season competition. It's only a matter of time. I'm pretty confident that at some stage it'll happen. I'm not that definite it's going to happen this year, though.
There's still a fair bit of hysteria here in Melbourne about non-Melbourne sides making the grand final, and a lot of it, Gary, was fueled by your article only 6 weeks ago in the Herald Sun. I mean, you've got to embrace it as well.
There's a lot of interstate hysteria about the fact that we haven't got our head around that situation, and that is a nonsense. I mean, if it's a Port Adelaide-Brisbane grand final, then so be it. It's a good thing, and get it to the MCG. More to the point, if it's a preliminary final, Mick, where should it be played? Port Adelaide, Adelaide.
Well, you are asking the wrong, well, probably the right person here.
No,
Because I've seen too often when sides earned the right to play the home final and were denied it. So I would like to think that whoever finishes on top of that division, that's where it's played.
What about, from a coaching perspective, the travel factor? It has been incredible that no side outside of a Western Australian side has won at Subiaco, and outside of the Swans, it would appear that travelling sides are almost doomed to defeat.
I think it's more the mind. I know that you're going to come up with all these statistics and scientific...
I've got a bit of science for you, Mick.
Well, this will be good.
The latest scientific research, and Dennis Cometti has passed this on to me, suggests, and it's a handful to Dennis,
is it ever?
that testosterone is the issue, and this isn't being flippant. The studies in the USA and in Europe suggest that testosterone levels dive, and that's why you feel lethargic, Hurdy, when you get off the plane. Have you got any evidence that the testosterone levels are down?
You feel lethargic when you get off the plane, but the testosterone level of a lot of guys rises after the game when they're due to go out that night. So who knows what's going to happen.
Can I tell you, Jared, there have been some massive stories in footy this year in 2002, and that will not be one of them. So sit back, relax, enjoy yourself as we have a look at a snapshot of the season so far.
For the well-being of all concerned, I've taken the decision to cease my playing career with the Kangaroos.
I could probably list 10 things that have happened of catastrophic nature in my time at the Kangaroos. Sure, none as big as this.
Respect my privacy in this situation.
What do you intend to do while you're here in the States?
No, nothing at all, mate. Just relax.
Never seen or been offered drugs anywhere at the football club.
I just think that's unfair.
We've got several other pieces of information which we need to fully investigate.
Yeah, there are some butterflies, for sure. I wouldn't be human if there wasn't.
This is fantastic, isn't it? Tony Lockett's back and he's knocked the logo over straight away.
I think he's just a frustrated old man.
Unfortunately, so many got it wrong.
I have to be independent. I have to be seen to be independent. I want to stress that there is no evidence that I've ever experienced a spinal cord injury.
I mean, he'll just come back gradually. He won't be walking into the side naturally, so...
Yeah, I suppose you're obviously disappointed to be here in the first place.
Yeah, very disappointed at the end of the day, but you just look at it on video, it didn't look great.
I felt a bit of pain straight away, so I wasn't expecting the best.
I regret my actions now. I probably did the wrong thing by giving the crowd the bird.
We don't have huge amounts of money in the pot.
16 club presidents will be telling the AFL to pull out the machine gun.
Punches thrown by the players on both sides.
The pain was just terrible. It was probably the worst pain, or definitely the worst pain I've ever experienced.
I know when I get back there'll still be 10 games to go.
I know that what occurred was wrong, and I must pay the penalty for it.
Haven't looked at the incident yet, so...
Wore my heart on my sleeve, and it's not there anymore, and I've looked for something to spark it.
I think when you go into coaching, I mean, it's not a job that you take superannuation out of.
We'd like to make a public apology to all the Richmond people out there.
It doesn't just affect me, it affects my wife, it affects my family.
You ought to be hung and quartered, though, especially bloody goals.
Look, you feel pressure at Carlton Footy Club all the time.
Last week was disgraceful.
Yeah, so many great stories. It seems like every minute another big headline pops up in AFL footy. But Gary, I've got to say, in my time in the game, which is only 25 years, and we'll get to Mick, who's been around a bit longer than that, I've never seen so much hype, so much speculation about one man. The Wayne Carey story has got to be the biggest story in football's history.
Well, certainly in my time as well. I mean, you look back and you see the vision one after another, and you forget how much you can cram into a season of footy. But that thing kicked off the year, and I don't think it's ever going to be topped. I couldn't see it myself, and it was brought sharply back into focus on the weekend with suggestions that he was Brisbane bound. And the reaction from Jason Ackermanis, first of all, was forthright. I think it left people in no doubt about his own feelings. And look, it's an issue that is so sensitive that usually coaches and CEOs and boards would make decisions on whether or not you do or don't go after a Carey. I would imagine you'd canvass players in this situation.
You'd have to. In that case, it's very, very important you go to your leaders and see what they feel about it and take that on board. Now, if it's line ball, well, you've got to make a decision. But
would that be the first time in the game's history that players have been consulted about another player arriving at the club?
No, it wouldn't be. Not at all. I would have thought Plugger would have had the same when he left St Kilda to go to Sydney. You know, there was talk about him going to Collingwood early, among other things. No, he wouldn't be the first.
James, you're a senior player at Essendon Footy Club. I know you're squirming a bit, but the question's got to be asked. You would expect to be consulted, I would imagine, and where do you sit on it all? Would you be happy to have Wayne Carey come to Essendon?
Definitely. I'd be very happy to have Wayne Carey come to Essendon, but the only qualification I put on that is you would have to ask the playing list. I think that it's something that you would go to the playing list and get their opinion on, but from my point of view, I'd be very happy for him to play football at the Essendon Footy Club.
Where's he likely to finish, Mick? Would you take him?
In our position, no.
Financially only?
No, financially he would be the second one. The first one would be the side is structured around youth and development. I see a 31-year-old player. I say this right now, he's the best player I've ever seen play. So I've got to say that, and the way he does play that role, centre forward's the hardest position for a starter. Yeah. But no, I wouldn't have him simply and there's other issues, but I wouldn't have him because we are a developing side. We're not going beyond the 25, 26-year-old categories.
Righto, well, one player that fits into that category beautifully, I would have thought, is Matthew Pavlich. Would you take him?
If he was 31, I'd take him. No. Yes, he's an outstanding young man.
I mean, there's been much hysteria about the Pavlich situation as well. I mean, the comments from the manager's point of view, Jared, I mean, it was sort of touted as a bit of a Dutch auction, if you like.
Yeah, well, both of these, Gary, could be sheeted back to the manager. I mean, Ricky Nixon got the ball rolling again. It was at the launch of the Colo Leeds match at Colonial Stadium. He threw it out, and I see today that he's poured cold water on it, saying that he'd be staggered now if Carey played again. Maybe he threw it out just to expand on some of the publicity for the soccer match. I mean, who knows?
He's using it to promote the soccer.
Perhaps he could well have been, but also with Max Stevens. I mean, that was just a manager getting it wrong.
Well, can I say one thing? We shouldn't be too concerned about Matthew Pavlich. I really have seen a young player come into footy who's as balanced with his feet firmly on the ground, and as you have a look at this vision, you'll realise that he's not too flustered about this.
I'd be lying if I said they're not tempting, and it's not. I think at the end of the day, you know, the whole auction process, which was unfortunately worded, was really disappointing from my point. My intentions from the word go, along with my management group, is to have this whole speculation hopefully quelled a bit, you know, not to have it blown out of proportion. And unfortunately, it's been the other way. So, look, it's a whole learning process, and my feelings are the same as they were at the start of the season. I have a strong relationship with so many people at the Fremantle Football Club, and I love playing there, and I love the environment I'm working in. So, it's going to be very difficult, but I'm very, very happy where I am. And I think everyone should start to understand that, because I've been saying that for a long time. and I really mean it.
Point taken. We'll take it on board. Just a quick one. Will he go or will he stay, Mick?
He'll stay.
James?
Oh, he'll stay. My advice would be to stay at Freo and become possibly Freo's greatest ever player.
Jared?
Snap.
Stay.
Stay.
I think he's staying. We'll take a break. There's plenty happening. We're off and running the season so far, and if you're ever in any doubt about the emotions of this game, sit back and enjoy this. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
The FIFA World Cup semi-finals continue live on 9 as the tournament favourites take on the new guys. Is there one more shock in store before the grand final? Brazil versus Turkey. Your World Cup action live 9 o'clock tonight on 9.
You're getting very, very sleepy. So it's just as well that from tomorrow, Target's taking 20% off quilts, covers, sheets, pillows, towels and curtains. That's 20% off the marked price of all Manchester. But hurry, it's only on for a short time.
The Bilo Fresh Food Festival means extra fresh value.
Bog Pack Budget Rump Steak.
$5.99 a kilo.
Sweet and juicy mandarins.
$1.89 a kilo.
Bilo, extra value for you.
And me. You're round, mate.
What?
Mate, there's no need to shout.
Really? I'll just get one for myself then.
Been paid out lately? Keno, with over 43 million paid out a year, you could win it by the minute.
Now's the time to buy top-quality sound and vision at Challenge Hi-Fi's pre-stock take clearance. Top-quality Yamaha AV receivers and DVD players. Top-quality Denon home theatre components and mini-systems. Top-quality Marantz home theatre and audio components. Fantastic speaker deals include clearance of KEF UDQ models. Legendary Sherwin Vega at silly prices. Sensational 30% off American Klipsch. Top-quality TVs from Toshiba, Metz and Orion also get the job. At Challenge Hi-Fi's pre-stock take clearance sale. 88 Prospect Road, Prospect.
Come on, quick, push! Oh, grab the gas! Oh, wait! It's me, Mum!
Hello, dear. I heard they weren't biting, so I brought you some nice Campbell's Chunky for lunch.
Thanks, Mum.
Here you go, boys. This one's made with lean prime beef.
Just like you, eh, Plugger? Chunky, now with lean prime beef. From Campbell's. It's all good.
And frankly, your initiatives are becoming a problem.
Telstra call waiting lets important calls through, even when your phone's busy.
Excuse me, Mr. Boswell, I've got another call.
Call waiting. Just press recall 2. It's free.
Tonight, live from Wimbledon, the Scud Mark Philippoussis will be serving up some rockets for Swede Thomas Enquist. Also featuring men's and women's number 3 seeds, Andre Agassi and Jennifer Capriati. Wimbledon live tonight on 9.
Like
Welcome back as we take a look at the season so far, and unquestionably one of the highlights of our great game is the high mark. There's some suggestion from some quarters that it's a part of the game that's been missing sadly in recent times, and Gerard, I know yourself and myself, not great exponents of the high mark in our careers, long time ago now, I know, but are we seeing the demise of the high mark?
Well, I don't think the big grabs have been as big as they have been, and I've got to say, Gary, I did feature in a high mark once. Ken Hunter took Mark of the Year on my head, but that was the only time. But I think the high mark has dropped off in frequency and in spectacular fashion.
Well, you and I both, I was featured in 2 marks of the year, both times someone standing on my head, but after 12 rounds of footy, there have been some pretty fair grabs. Let's have a look at them now.
White looks the fly from behind. Takes that screamer! Shane Wakeland jumps up and takes an absolute ripper.
High kick towards the top of the square. Big mark. That is a brilliant mark. Give it back behind the ball. Fiora with the six. Got it. It's long. They go. Oh, what a fantastic mark over the top by Perry. Players are just a little bit clear. May not win. Behind Bound will jump. Advance with the shot. Classic set over the top. Bangs it long. Travels along towards the goal square. Burton over the top. Shell.
That is a great mark.
Long kick. Well inside the 50. Oh, he's done it again. He has done it again. Lynch has taken a beauty.
Smith unloads with a long kick flat.
6 possession, high kick inside 50. Brilliant mark taken by Medhurst. They need another goal. Thompson. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, Jeff White. That's the type of ball.
It's pretty fair grabs there, boys. Let's put it to bed so far. Halfway mark. Mick, who was it?
Very biased.
No.
Big Anthony, he was a terrific
No conflict of interest in this.
No, not at all, not at all. I want to drive the car.
That's it.
Got to agree. Anthony Rocker v Western Bulldogs. Sensational mark.
Yeah, and I'm going with him, Gary.
Just dropped my pen. That's how well I'm going.
You'd be sacked for that fumble. I'm going for Anthony Rock, and I reckon it's just continued his improved year.
Well, he's one of the players who stepped up, no doubt about it. There's been quite a few of them. Let's have a look at these, boys. I'll be interested to see whether you agree with us or not. And I think Adam Simpson's been the player who's caught my eye most for the season. He's the leading kick getter in the competition. He's been around for quite some time, probably more so doing a job, more of a proactive year for Adam Simpson rather than a reactive one. And I think he's enjoyed the freedom. He's got quality possessions. His work rate's terrific. He's tough and hard inside. I think right now you'd say he's almost the best midfielder going around.
Big tag, Gary. Good again in round 12, though. But Kane Johnson's one who's emerged. We know he played in a couple of premierships with Adelaide. And this guy's a really interesting case study because he evidently was put up for a trade for Ben Holland, and haven't the Adelaide Crows been the big winners by maintaining him? He's pretty tough to match up on, Mick.
Very tough. When he was drafted, they all thought that he was going to be too slow.
You speak of tough matchups. Daniel Bandy is a tough matchup, James. He's as fit as anyone at the Western Bulldogs. You put someone on him that can run with him, and he beats them in the air. You put someone that goes with him in the air, he beats them on the ground.
Such a tall man. His running ability is exceptional, and that's why he just gets so many people by surprise, because he can run length of the ground and gets the ball in the back line, and then 2 seconds later he's up the other end of the ground, getting a kick, taking a mark, and kicking you the goal.
Mickey was part of a trade with Troy Simmons and Craig Ellis, and Troy Simmons has been sensational. Ellis was great again in round 12, so he's doing well.
Win-win. Win-win-win. That's very rare that happens.
His athleticism, Gary, is noted pretty well at the Dockers, but perhaps not so well known around the country.
Well, I think it would surprise a lot of people at Melbourne to know that the Dockers rate him as one of their quickest players, over 10 or 15 metres, and he's a real power athlete. And I think his work in the centre bounce has been a bit of a revelation.
You can get held back by being at a club, though, if someone else is perceived to be better than you.
What about Anthony Rocker? Mick, I mean, much maligned, I think, over the years, but this year stepped up in a big way.
Fantastic person. We appointed him vice-captain for obvious reasons. He's got great leadership qualities. He's genuine in his attempt to be a great team player, and I think that we're only seeing now the tip of the iceberg. There's the best of Anthony still to come.
Who have we missed there, James?
I think Adam Renaissance really stepped up. Travis Johnson from Melbourne, Gary's been one that has really stepped up. Mick, surely Scott Burns is a guy at Collingwood. Injury worries up until now, but this year has really given Collingwood an extra element to their side.
Another great leader, very hard player. You can't beat hard players in the middle. And you've mentioned a couple there before, and Burnsy fits that criteria.
Yeah. Travis Johnston, I mean, I haven't been super critical. People at Melbourne think I have been super critical, but all I mentioned earlier in the year that was he was a super talent who needed to do it consistently, and I'm happy to say that 12 rounds in, he's put together a good half a year of footy.
Reflective of yesterday, wonderful first half, didn't see him in the third quarter, and come back in the last quarter.
Well, after that square off, Gary, we'll...
No, it's not a square, nothing to square off about. Don't you go causing trouble down there. You got the red and blue tie on, I'm happy about that. You're one of Melbourne's favourite sons. You went to Sydney.
That's a nice square off. Now, a lot has been blamed on the TV networks and the exposure of footy for the missing crowds. But I just wonder, Hurdy, whether or not it's been the fact that the likes of yourself have been out, Cooter's been out. The missing stars, I think, has created an X factor, and there's been so many of these players missing. Have a look at them. Hurd out. Lloyd's been out for the bulk of the season, as has Harvey, Richardson. Cooter's got to be worth 100,000 people in himself, and, well, of course, Wayne Carey missing. Any credibility in that argument, James?
I think a little bit. I also think that, you know, with the length of the season, it does make it hard for people to get there week in, week out, and it being on TV, really, you can sit at home and watch every game if you want to.
You've got players that have stepped up. There has to be a couple that have stepped down, and maybe it is a harsh title for these players, but there are players who struggled through the course of the year, and probably the most celebrated of them all early in the piece was Corey McKernan, whose timing in the centre bounce was terrible. I mean, we shouldn't try and dress it up in any other way, and his judgment for marks and his hands have just got all soft.
It has, and this game he really struggled here against Essendon. He tried to take marks, just kept missing them, but he has sort of turned his season around a little bit. I mean, there have been some glimmer of hope for Corey and played a lot better towards the end of the year.
The one thing that they have in common, a lot of these super players that have had poor first halves of the season, has been that they've missed the pre-season, and Chris Grant was the most notable of cases. What he had to come into the year with, Mick, was almost impossible to deal with.
No pre-season, but he's warming to it, isn't it? It's almost like the first part of the year has warmed him up for the last few games and for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. I think his last couple of weeks have been good. I don't know about Mickey O'Loughlin, though. I think the raps on him have been such that I don't think he ever lived up to them, and sometimes I think they may have been a bit premature. He's got...
No, I think he was a top player, Gary, but I think he's really struggling.
His best was very good, Jared, and sometimes it can win people over.
He's attracting the best defender week in, week out for a side now that's struggling midfield.
He's been playing above his size in a key forward position, and that was the downfall for this bloke. He was asked to play a position he's not capable, it would seem, of playing on a regular basis. That is the reign and the area for superstars, and he just at the moment isn't one.
Jared, James Mark McCurry, tell me about him.
Yeah, look, he's had some worries a couple of years ago, a knee injury last year. This year he's had some indifferent form, played some terrific games, played some bad games, and I think people are generally too harsh on Mark. He does get probably the best small backman in the opposition side, but saying that, currently he's playing for Essendon reserves against Box Hill, so the coaching staff have recognised that he is down on a bit of form.
Mick, Nathan Buckley's had a great start to the year. The last month, people have said he's gone missing. Has he got an injury?
Had an injury 5 or 6 weeks ago. Would have taken 2 or 3 weeks to get over. I think he's over that injury. And he's also another one that has been tagged heavily over the last 5 or 6 years. What we've done, we've been able to ease the pressure. James has already indicated about Scott Burns. We don't think that we can go where we want to go with one player. So we're distributing the workload.
We need to take another break, boys. On the other side of the break, we're going to look at the best crop of rising stars, young players I've seen for a long, long time. But as we do go to the break, it's a physical game of footy. You're going to love the bumps.
Stand around at American weddings.
This news break is brought to you by Bank SA Home Loans.
Good evening. The former Chief Financial Officer of Harris Scarpe has been sentenced to 6 years jail. 57-year-old Alan Hodgson had pleaded guilty to a string of fraud charges related to the retailer's collapse. Judge Bright said Hodgson played a major part in bringing down the Adelaide retail icon. One of the worst wildfires in American history continues to rage in Arizona. President Bush has visited some of the 30,000 people who had to be evacuated from the danger zone. He's told them they have the sympathy of the nation. Almost 400 homes have been destroyed.
More Australians get their news from Channel 9 than from any other source.
If you found a house and lost your heart, you'll love a Bank SA home loan. Because with Bank SA, you can have pre-approval, a low rate, and a fee-free bank account, all from the bank that's helped more South Australians own a home than any other lender. Call Bank SA on 13 13 76 and ask about a home loan.
My dream is to have a franchise of squeegee cleaners all over the city, all over the country, at every intersection. I just need some cash to get me started. Hey, have a nice day.
This end of financial year, Toyota really means business. So we've cut the price of this limited edition 2.2-litre EFI Camry Advantage Automatic down to just $26,688. Drive away, no more to pay. Which means with power windows, power steering, driver's SRS airbag, cruise control, alloys and air as standard, you'll drive from dawn to dusk. So jump into your local dealer before the end of this financial year while this great deal is being done. And get the feeling Toyota really means business.
It's virtually impossible to make a Bose audio system sound any better. Unless, of course, you offer a free custom design and installation service. Bose from Grenfell Hi-Fi. Simply the world's best brands. Grenfell Hi-Fi.
Graham's half-yearly clearance is one sale that really stands out. Right now, you can save up to 50% on selected items. There are plenty of golden opportunities to save, or make diamonds your best friend forever. Perhaps you'd prefer white gold or platinum. Just ask. For a short time, you'll save up to 50% on selected items in our entire range. A Graham sale is always genuine to make it really.
Stand out from the crowd.
Graham's Jewelers.
Hello?
Hi, sweetie. Listen, I'll be home soon with KFC.
KFC, cool. Crispy strips, crispy strips.
Mum, get the popcorn chicken. She wants the popcorn chicken. Trust me.
All right, that's enough, you two.
Any chance of some original recipe?
My chicken variety basket. All the best of KFC in one easy pack.
I hope the kids weren't too much trouble.
KFC.
On Channel 9's Friday Night Football, the blockbuster match of the week between Essendon and Melbourne at 8:30.
Oh, what a big kick. How often have we seen this season? After the siren, the game comes down to this. The Dock is to win. He halves, he pumps, he gives it a heave, and it's gun barrel straight. Look at that, it's a magnificent kick. It's a goal for the Dockers, he's nailed it. The little bloke on the mark is chewing his nails. Chris Connolly talking about delisting 8 or 9 players, obviously has to make room for this man.
Well, I think it's incumbent upon the Fremantle Dockers to at least keep Matthew Pavlich until such time as that young fella right there can don the Freo Guernsey and continue the Western Australian clubs push up the AFL ladder.
Is that the first showing of the true Specky McGee?
I knew we'd get it in there somewhere, Jared. No question about that. It could very well be, but I tell you, there's been some pretty impressive rising stars in the competition this season. It is a wonderful award, and I think it's produced some wonderful players. And as we have a look at this list, James, these guys are coming into AFL footy and having a big impact in a short period of time.
They are, yeah. Chris Judd, but has been fantastic. But the highlight for me has been Nick Riewoldt. He has just been absolutely fantastic. I think that the game against Essendon, where St Kilda got belted, but Riewoldt really stamped his mark on the competition and proved he was going to be a player of the future.
And Mark McGough can step up on the big stage and pull off an Anzac Day medal.
Yes, he's 17 and still goes to school and hasn't got his licence, so he's going to be a wonderful talent.
He is, no doubt, and Ryan Hargrave's another one. All those players have caught my eye at various stages, and I think it's such a healthy situation for the competition to see the next crop of the Careys or the Herds or the Lloyds coming through.
And Paul Medhurst is a bloke who I don't think many would have expected that he would have been the first one nominated this year.
And they just don't hold back for their more experienced teammates. They really get in under, demand the ball, and the way that they go about it's been fantastic.
Well, we've singled out 5 for particular attention. I'm sure they'll come under more attention as their AFL careers wander along a pretty illustrious path, and we can sit back now and enjoy 5 of the rising stars of the AFL competition.
The winner of the Anzac Day medal for 2002 is Mark McGough of the Collingwood Football Club.
Roden goes again. The two youngsters combining close to the boundary line. Roden's kick is a beauty.
I just sort of play a bit on instinct. Just things that just come to me first mind, and I just do it straight away. So.
Should have got a free Roden.
Danny also gives me confidence just to, just play my ability that, that I've always been playing with. He's actually thrown me in the deep end, this year, and I'm glad he did because, he's just told me to get out there and do what you do best, just get the ball and, do well for the team.
Lynch wrestling, getting back as Cloak, great mark.
It is a big step from the VFL, from the under-18 sort of thing, going up. I was disappointed in myself last year not getting a game, and I went about it over the pre-season and working hard on myself to get it up and did different things I had to do. Spoke to the coaching staff at Christmas and they said, well, we want you to work on this sort of thing and this and that. You get in the side and you don't want to get out sort of thing, and you give the opportunity. If you play well, then keep putting your name up and saying, well, I don't want to go out sort of thing, keep me in the side. My motto is if you get in there and get them first, it's not going to hurt you sort of thing. But you got to get there and get the football, and like if you got to back into a pack, you got to back into a pack. That's what you got to do. That's why you play football sort of thing.
Judd, still Judd, nicely done. Towards half-forward, Chris Judd, 55 metres out, nobody is back, wonderful.
I think the fact that I didn't really expect anything out of the season has sort of helped. All I wanted to do was really improve, and if you don't put any pressure on yourself, then I think that can be a real bonus. I had my left shoulder reconstructed when I was 16, and my right one got reconstructed a year later when I was 17. They're both stronger than they were before the operations, and yeah, they're so far so good.
Kick towards him. Oh, brilliant stuff, Chris Judd.
So to be able to play with players like Peter Matera, Glenn Jakovic, Ashley McIntosh, these type of players, it's really special for a young bloke, and it's easy to learn lots of things off players with such great experience.
Going back to school helps keep things in perspective. Going back and get ordered around by the teachers and doing homework and things like that, it really helps settle your life down.
Kick to half forward, McGough. Too good, too strong.
After the first couple of games, the opposition teams take a bit more notice of you, but it's just if you keep your head and you just keep working hard and do all the things that got you to playing that sort of football, and you keep doing them, that no reason why it shouldn't continue.
Out wide, Rewalt's good. That's a wonderful mark by Nick Rewalt.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying trying to display a leadership role out on the ground and off the ground, I suppose, to a certain extent. Eventually, I wouldn't mind sort of finding myself in a midfield role along the similar lines to Anthony Koutafidis. I look at him and I really admire the way he plays, and I'd really like to be able to play like him one day.
Rewalt again, the one shining light.
I suppose I set myself pretty high expectations. If I don't reach them, I generally get pretty disappointed. So, the first half of the year has gone okay, so I'm just really conscious that I make sure the second half I keep improving.
Some of the best images in the season so far are all about the rising stars. I mean, I don't think we've seen a better group of players come into the game for many, many years.
I certainly haven't seen that take place before, where we've got so many first-round or first-year players. Rewalt's not a first-year player, but he may as well have been given his injury, come in and actually do something for their side. Very few players can actually change the course of the game. These kids have had an impact.
Just on Nick, I saw him close hand on Friday night, and I saw him walking out. It wasn't his best performance. In fact, he looked like he was tired. How, if you're Grant Thomas, do you handle a kid who's clearly a sublime talent, sees that the club's on the bottom of the ladder, and he looks like he needs 2 weeks off?
Well, he's probably had one. We rested Josh Fraser his first year, just took him out of the game for 1 week just to freshen him up a little bit. Depends what's at stake. They're trying to get off the bottom, win enough games to prove that they're a fair side in the competition. There are ways of putting him behind the ball, but he certainly does look like he needs a rest.
We're going to go to a break. We'll take a break here on the season so far, and we'll be back with more shortly.
The Nine Network is putting Australia to the test. Support your state. Show the nation how smart South Australia really is. Call 1300 722 252 now to register. You must be available July 6 between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m.
You're getting very, very sleepy. So it's just as well that from tomorrow, Target's taking 20% off quilts, covers, sheets, pillows, towels and curtains. That's 20% off the marked price of all Manchester. But hurry, it's only on for a short time.
If you're over 55 and don't work full-time, why not do what thousands of Australians have already done and take up the challenge to compare your home and contents insurance policy with Australian pensioners insurance agencies. Australian pensioners charge you no extra to pay your premium by the month.
Are you paying extra?
We charge no excess on claims and give you electric motor burnout cover at no extra cost.
Are you paying extra?
We have new for old replacement on contents regardless of age, plus accidental breakage of fixed glass at no extra cost.
Are you paying extra?
You receive a discount for insuring both your home and contents, plus we include free legal advice and comprehensive flood cover at no extra cost.
Are you paying extra?
Take up the challenge now. Call Australian Pensioners Insurance Agency on 132 555.
The new Fisher & Paykel Intuitive Washer not only washes clothes cleaner than ever before, it's so incredibly simple to use. You can do the washing with your eyes closed. The new Intuitive Washer from Fisher & Paykel.
A little bit of Monica in my life, a little bit of Joshua by my side, a little bit of Peter, here I am, a little bit of Heinz mixed in your man.
There's a bit of Heinz in all of us.
Handy Ultra. Very handy.
This week's special buys from Woolworths will stop you in your tracks. Eat a 5-star 500-gram spread, just 97 cents. Save 82 cents. This special buy is only available at Woolworths and only while stocks last.
I'm sorry, I forgot. It was just a little ad. Oh, can I come in now?
My dream is to have a franchise of squeegee cleaners all over the city, all over the country, at every intersection. I just need some cash to get me started. Hey, have a nice day!
This week, the glamour and excitement of Wimbledon. Adelaide's Leighton Hewitt, this year's #1 seed. Follow Leighton's progress each night with updated reports and analysis. Adelaide's National 9 News, nightly at 6.
To win the game for the Swans after the siren.
As Darren Cresswell from 35 metres.
He comes in deliberately. Drop punt for goal. He's kicked it. The Swans have won. What a game of football. The Swans have won by 3 points.
Farmer from reverse angle to win the game.
He's stuck it in.
He celebrates. He jumps into the crowd.
Unbelievable. The fate of the match riding on Peter Ricard. It leads
Well, if anything's been a highlight of the season so far, it's been the fact that there's been so many close finishes. Gary, already this season, 3 games decided by kicks after the siren.
Unbelievable. In the history of the footy, I'm not sure how many there have been, but that is an unbelievable amount. But there's also been some finishes that have had coaches and commentators on the edge of their seat. Let's take a look at them now.
Now there it is. What a fantastic second round here. And the Magpies winning by the barest possible margin.
The siren's gone, and the Dockers have pitched it at Subiaco Oval. Cunningham unloaded a big bomb, and the Dockers have won by 3 points.
The countdown goes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Game over. Kangaroos win by 8 points at the MCG.
There's the siren at Collingwood. And tonight is the night the new Magpies have come of age.
And Port Adelaide have won by 5 points in a well-deserved victory here at Football Park tonight.
And there it is, the final siren. Geelong have staged a remarkable fight back. They kicked 6 of the last 7 goals and have defeated the Sydney Swans by 2 points.
The Eagles, 7 and 5, have defeated Carlton in another comeback. They have gone down by a kick.
Ruby runs in and kicks the goal. It's in the post. It's in the post.
It's a draw at Colonial Stadium in one of the most extraordinary football matches you will ever see.
I'm not sure that Daniel Wolf has recovered from that kick. There have been some amazing finishes, and if you've been at the games live, it's had you walk away shaking your head. And the other thing that has you shaking your head, James, is players who miss easy goals. And we've all been there. I've done it.
Yes.
I dare say you've even done it at times.
Yeah, I think I feature here, Gary, but look, who knows why players miss easy goals, but you should be able to kick a goal 20 metres out, 15 metres out, even 40 metres out straight in front.
They're all facts, Mick. The 28 games this year have been decided by 12 points or less. I guess as a coach, it must be a nightmare knowing that you've got a bloke who's a little bit wobbly, like this fellow on screen lining up for goal.
Lackadaisical.
Lazy, probably. Better word for it.
Yeah, well, that does happen too, and of course they get very annoyed at themselves too. You know, they sort of take it out on the opponent.
Is it mental?
Of course, it's all mental. All mental. And of course, mental enters into it, and then the physical component. You pull your hand away, the ball follows it, and you miss the goal.
It isn't also got to do with the fact that the human element, and it's not just footy. I mean, we've got sports where players have played millions of dollars, like Kobe Bryant for the LA Lakers. I mean, you'd ask the question, why should he ever miss that? I mean, you'd ask the question from a golfing point of view, how do you miss that, Pete? How does Retief Goosen miss that with the US Open on the line? I mean, it's the same theory.
Call pressure. Call the pressure.
A lot of people think, Mick, it's to do with money. Quite clearly, these blokes are on a lot more. Now, the captain, the almighty captain of Australian cricket. Embarrassing moment. I don't think there's a sportsman alive that hasn't had one of these moments. They just like to bury themselves. And even the World Game, Gary's thrown up a few.
But doesn't that put it in perspective? I mean, the blokes are going to miss goals. I mean, because the very best in the world miss goals.
And they don't mean to. And even then, we can't say that's lackadaisical. That is just simply the pressure of the moment has got to the player, and he's missed because of that pressure more, and he practices and practices. It's gone out the window.
You live with it as well. I remember I ran into an open goal in one of the Swans finals, and I missed it from 25 metres out, and I reckon it took me 2 years to get over it. It cost the Swans a game. I mean, you've got to accept the responsibility.
Could there be more pressure in the World Cup? I doubt it. Let's say grand final, 40 metres out from goal, roof shut. Who is the man in the AFL right now that you'd have kick for your life?
Well, I was going to come up with 2. One's not playing, but he's on a list.
One for your life and one for Nanette's life, then.
Right, Wayne Carey.
Yes.
And Michael Voss.
Yeah. Jim?
Matthew Lloyd for me. A bit biased, but he's the best goal kicker going round.
I'd still go for Paul Hudson. I know he's maybe struggling to stay on a senior list. He is the deadliest kick I've ever seen, other than probably Darren Jarman.
I'd go Matty Lloyd, but this is the sharpshooters of season 2002, and there'd be some surprises there. The criteria is, of course, you had to have kicked more than 20 goals, so we put some sort of basis on it. But any surprises there, boys?
I think Stephen Milne has to dodge 3 blokes and do 3 blind turns before he can kick a goal.
What do you think, Mick? Who's the best at Collingwood?
Nick Davis.
We'd like to see him back in the side. Stay with us. You're watching the season so far, and as we go to the break, here's what coaches love to see, the 1%ers.
day getaway on the road. From a great little weekend escape to the Great Aussie Drive. Mountains, ocean, desert, rainforest. Getaway Thursday on 9.
Mobile phone bill rage is a serious social issue. More than that, it's a problem. But there is a light at the end of this particular tunnel.
Beat bill rage. Switch to Virgin Mobile and you could cut your monthly bill.
And moving forward, boys.
1 in 3 women over 35 occasionally suffers from a weak bladder.
Your right hand to your right foot.
But just because their body's changing doesn't mean their lifestyle has to.
And breathing out.
Because porous panty liners have a super absorbent core, making them 3 times more absorbent than most sanitary panty liners. To leave you dry, fresh and poised to get on with life.
Found a house and lost your heart? Talk to Bank SA about a home loan.
Would you like to try a Campino?
Ooh, sweet. Strawberries and cream.
They're not bad.
Bit like ice cream. Yeah, really creamy.
Campino, the real taste of strawberries and cream in a sweet.
It's hard to believe a sweet can taste this good.
At Autobarn, we're carving up Pioneer prices. Check this killer CD tuner with flip face, direct sub-drive and remote. At $347, it's $152 off the release price. Pioneer's hottest seller, these 220-watt 6x9s are a berserk $148 the pair. Prices on hundreds of items are slashed. This high-tech wonder's got a 10-gig hard drive that stores 200 CDs worth of music. Sale ends Sunday, 5 p.m, no exceptions. Autobarn, Elizabeth and Mile End.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yes, up to 50% off everything in store at Zammell's Jewelers end of financial year sellout. Up to 50% off. Don't miss it. Zammell's Jewelers.
Home from our trip away, the kids preferred to stay. If needed cleaning quickly, or mum she'd get right prickly. Ajax spray and wipe all purpose, now faster and tougher on every surface. So thank you, new faster, tougher Ajax spray and wipe.
Picture this, 500 kids every night in safe foster care because home isn't safe. Picture homeless people finding warmth and relief. Elderly people receiving care and comfort. Picture gambling victims discovering new horizons. Families learning to manage the tough times. Every picture tells a story at Anglicare. We're working for people in South Australia. Please, work with us.
Great vision there, the Magpies up in the Northern Territory. Mick, you had the split round, a weekend off. Was it work or play up there?
Oh, it was work, actually. It relaxed the mind. The body was still going off and doing the out to the tours and so forth. But I think the kids respected it and loved it. But we, as a football club, I think that we've come back learning a lot from that process.
I don't think at any other stage in the game there's been more pressure on AFL coaches, and yet there would appear, listening to some of the comments from Wayne Jackson, that he underestimates the workload and the pressure that the coaching group is on. It would appear as if at the moment AFL headquarters are trying to put a ceiling on the monies paid to the football department, which means AFL coaches.
Oh, I've no doubt that's happening. I feel that whenever any coach comes up for renewal, I'm sure that the AFL are watching eagerly to see what's going to transpire.
Is that a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing, but I would like to think that touching on what Jerry just said, I think I'd like to see one of the AFL officials actually spend a couple of weeks at a football club to see how much work is done.
It's reputed that the top coaches, and we'll leave individuals out of it, are on around $800,000. One of them would be Dennis Pagan. Is it fair that a club asks a coach to take a 30 or 40% pay cut? Because there is at this stage a bit of a view that Dennis is the only one who can get North Melbourne, I guess, through to the finals, and if he does disappear.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about those figures. Those figures have been branded around a fair bit, and I'm not 100% sure about that. But if he's the best coach, they should do everything they possibly can to keep him. And clearly he is North Melbourne. But we've seen young coaches come in and do quite well. But
I think that's the point, Nick. I mean, I get the feeling, and I've got the utmost respect for Dennis. I think, you know, from what he's done, obviously he's one of the best in the comp. But if it gets to a stage where the Kangaroos have to make a decision, say tightening the purse strings or whatever the case may be, and it says that Dennis, they put their best offer to him, he has to go, it's not necessarily the end of the world. I get the feeling they think the whole place is going to fall over if he's not there. Yet you see a Connolly and a Worsfold in particular come in first year and have a big impact.
Well, the individual's not as big as the organisations, we all know that, but North Melbourne, we know their financial plight and so forth, and we've got to be very careful that we don't lose a side because we lose a coach. Jim,
players retire and bob up on coaching lists, as I did, part-time on a part-time basis. Has it become a slush fund for retired players who clubs are loath to see walk away, yet make a position for them to keep them around the place?
Maybe not a slush fund, but to a certain extent, players who wanted to go on or have got a contract for a year or two are put onto the coaches list, or taken off players list, put onto a coaches list, and are paid in a way to entice them off the playing list where a younger player can be put on. I think it's an area where the clubs are exploiting the ability of the AFL to monitor that.
Is Wayne Schwash joining this coaching panel, which I think he is? So does he come off the playing list, financially finishes there, and then starts as a coach, which adds on to it?
Well, I think that is what's happening. He's certainly on their coaching list. I mean, it's a bit of a joke around the town that Carlton have put an extra level in their coaches box.
Kernahan, Williams, they're on honorary positions. Kernahan, Williams, Mitchell, Silvani, Ross Lyons on next Carlton player. But on the other side of the coin is why, if they've got coaching aspirations or prospects, why wouldn't you try and hang on to someone like Silvani, for instance?
Well, I think clubs are very reluctant to see good players leave. We kept Gavin Brown on because we love Gavin Brown. We think that Gavin Brown is going to be a person who's going to be around the football club for a long time. And it may be in his interest to leave the football club and gain some experience somewhere else, but you're reticent to do that given the quality of the person.
Well, I would imagine it's a tough job, and Danny Frawley would be feeling the pressure, particularly given results of the weekend. Now, this is Danny Frawley 2000, just been appointed. He's looking fresh and youthful and full of some expectation of the job ahead. There's Sputter after 58 games.
That's after a win.
The hair colour's gone and the furrowed brow. You mentioned, Mick, you'd love to see someone from the AFL come down and experience. I mean, can you just tell us, do you ever leave the job?
You don't, well, no, that's a great question. You don't leave the job. Your wins are 5 minutes. You walk off the ground, you sing the song. You're automatically in the medical room finding out what damage has been done. You look at the opposition. A loss lasts the whole week because you've got to eradicate it. So I would love, we had Patrick Smith come through for the Australian and spend a whole week. I'd love someone from the AFL to come down, generally see what transpires and see what all the jobs are. You know, I had a crack at the AFL once before, and I'll never do it again, of how many people actually work there. And they all work. Now, let's get someone down and see how a football department actually operates.
That's how your team's going from a coaching point of view. There's only one man. I can have premiership coaches here. I can have dual Brownlow or Brownlow medalists. There's only one man that can give us his own unique perspective on how your team is travelling at the halfway mark of the year. That man, Sam Newman.
Afternoon, Gary. While you're doing a mid-season review, I thought I might do a prognostication on what might happen at the end of the season, and also discover what Bill Brownless feels like staggering through life. The final at Stepford in September could be between this side, the Lions, and this side, the Power. Don't they play grand football, the Power? Wouldn't that captivate the crowd? And incidentally, Gary, how appropriate that we're here, because this could well be the crowd. Was it only 4 years ago that cattle trucks streamed across the border full of Crows supporters? Hence the spread of mad cow disease here on the eastern seaboard. The mullet heads could be back. A nice symmetry about Collingwood. While their players are up north recharging their batteries, they could well be visiting a number of their supporters who'd be up there escaping from their parole officers. Finger, face and brain. These are the queries on Lloyd, Hurd and Sheedy. And if Kev can overcome these three injury problems, he will be officially classed as a genius. Beaujolais, Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. These three drops from the Margaret River travel beautifully across the Nullarbor. The west coast and the dockers don't. As I've said from the start of the year, Gary, Melbourne are an ordinary side. Not great, not bad, just ordinary. Travelling west down the Prince's Highway, two things strike you. How exceptionally well Mark Thompson's done with the young cats, and how bloody awful that road is with all those different speed signs. Bounding towards September action are the Kangaroos, after an indifferent start, if you consider that unusual form of bonding session and get-together indifferent. After a zip 5 start and Eddie single-handedly saving the club, the Western Bulldogs on a roll. Even Scragger has the head down between the legs, anticipating a very big finish. Hooray for Hawthorn! Unfortunately, the weather hasn't been kind to the Hawks. Too cold for ice vests, too hot for long sleeves. Their fitness guru, Bango Bodencock, reckons, though, given 15.6 degrees with a light sou'wester, we'll make it. Danny Frawley reckons the Tigers have had a stellar month. Haven't won a game, mind you, but just playing grand football. If they can improve just a weeny teeny bit, they actually might fail to score. Plugger, hasn't the experiment been fantastic coming back to the fold? Rodney Eade can't believe his luck. Chortling just feels on top of the world. And the chemistry between Big Barry Hall and Plugger, well, rarely been replicated, except perhaps in the halcyon days of talking footy. The Saints, just moving beautifully through Grant Thomas's process, which leaves us with the Blues. Is it paradise? Is it the Garden of Eden? Is it Shangri-La? Could Carlton, please God, finish last? Wouldn't that be wonderful? They're like their president's lungs. They're old, they're stuffed, and they're in bad need of an overhaul. Do you believe I did this in one take, Gary? I didn't even did that wrong.
He's a rare talent, young Sammy, and a rare man indeed. And
Is the sun going down there?
Well, a pretty long afternoon, I reckon, for Sam at the MCG, but well worth it, and his own unique perspective on the game of footy. We need to take a break. We've talked about the coaches, and as you have a look at this, well, you may ask, who would be an AFL coach?
Brought to you by the new dishwasher powder from Morning Fresh.
Coming very windy overnight, strong to gale force winds tomorrow. It'll be cold with showers. Tonight in Adelaide down to 9, top tomorrow 15 degrees. Friday will be cold with the showers clearing later in the day. Saturday an early frost, a cold day, and Sunday cool but mainly fine.
The bad news, Hi-Fi Acoustics in liquidation. And the building is sold. The good news, Truscott Hi-Fi buys the stock. And with our warehouse clearance lines, reductions hit up to 40%. Huge range of TVs, rear projection TVs, VCRs, DVDs, Hi-Fis, speakers, receivers, and home theatre systems. Big savings at all stores until stock sold out. Truscott Hi-Fi, Adelaide's lowest prices with up to 24 months interest-free terms.
Shepherd's Jeweller's traditional half-yearly sale is on now, and this spectacular 18-carat ring with 2 carats of diamonds is now only $4,795. Shepherd's Jeweller's traditional half-yearly sale.
More moisture for your skin. Nivea Body Nourishing Lotion. Enriched with vitamin E for even more beautiful skin. Nivea Body Nourishing Lotion.
There are sports, and there are extreme sports. Just like there are compact four-wheel drives, and there's the Nissan X-Trail. An extreme all-mode four-wheel drive system, an extreme interior, and extreme power. The X-Trail. Only Nissan takes the compact four-wheel drive to the extreme.
Just when you're driving. Wherever I go, whatever I do, I know in my heart I'll never be far apart from you. Though the years roll by, you see me through and be with me all my life, whatever I do.
You're getting very, very sleepy. So it's just as well that from tomorrow, Target's taking 20% off quilts, covers, sheets, pillows, towels and curtains. That's 20% off the marked price of all Manchester. But hurry, it's only on for a short time.
This week's Bilo Fresh Food Festival means fresh food at terrific prices.
Jubilee ham,
$8.90 a kilo.
regular barbecue chicken,
$5.97.
Bilo, extra value for you.
And me.
ER is joining forces with the Third Watch.
What are you talking about?
In the search for a missing family. A 2-part ER event Thursday on 9.
And we're just over half-time on the season so far, and time to look at a few of the things that have been big talking points, issues that have made news from on the ground. And Mick, I reckon coaches get the rap for many of the game's innovations, but they've got to take responsibility for some of the low points, and we're almost drowning in a flooding of players, etc. this year, and the game was, I think, at one of its greatest crisis levels.
It was, and it was in the news more than anything else. And the method, obviously, is to win games of football. All coaches set about to have plans implemented to curtail the strength of the opposition and to win games of footy.
This is the stuff that drove spectators, commentators alike mad. Just boring football, and I think that's what it became, Jim. I'm not sure how it is to play, but to watch, it was just boring.
No, to play is very frustrating, to watch is very frustrating, but the fact of the matter is that if it's going to win your side a game, then the coach is going to employ it. I think not many coaches would say we'll play attractive footy and lose if they know they can win in a flooding style of footy, and that makes it pretty difficult to outlaw flooding.
Oh, it does. The game before this game, 8 goals, 8 each against Sydney. The next game, we beat them by 83 points. We had to do that, I think, to break the thing of flooding. And it didn't necessarily break it, but it certainly proved that you can get by it.
And I remember that night we did that game. It was Friday night footy, and probably for the first 10 or 15 minutes I sat there and thought, here we go again, because it didn't appear that you'd come up with a solution. Did it just work itself out through the course of the night, or what you thought would happen, it just took a little bit of time?
Oh, we set about our training all week to break it.
So how do you break it? You gonna share
How do you break it?
You're going to share it?
Get some blokes who can take some catches, some marks, and get some blokes who can kick 50-odd metres and have enough of the football to work the ball into the forward line. It's a combination. You can't just have... There's no wand to wave over the game and say it's going to turn away.
As a player, when you're playing against it, it's not like playing a real game of footy. You walk off the ground, you're pretty fresh, you've spent half the time with no one around you or everyone around you. It's a very frustrating way to play because you can't play your normal, get the ball, move it on as quickly as possible. You've got to hold it, wait, check what's going on. It's just a terrible way to play.
Doesn't it also render statistics irrelevant?
It does.
The bloke ended up with 14 marks because he didn't have an opponent.
The bloke on his own, the back line, the two blokes sitting back there, can just do what they want. They kick to each other, have 45 possessions, but have no influence on the game.
Jared, Mick's let us into a little secret. You've got to get blokes that can mark it and also kick it long distances. And the torque, can we bring it back?
Well, I think it's on the way back as much as any other kick that was almost going the way of the dodo. And I think, Gary, it's been brought back because it's a clear way of breaking the flood. The floodbusters, Stewie Jews won, Anthony Rocker's won, and Byron Pickett, as we just saw there. Dustin Fletcher, that was a cracking kick.
Yeah, it was. Fletcher's great at torps. He's also great at 60, 70-metre mongrels. I've never seen a bloke kick 70-metre mongrels better in my life. But Anthony Rocker, fantastic exponent of the torp.
What's your instruction then? Is it you can have a crack at them but make sure they work?
Well, you can't say you make sure they work. I let the players, let them practice. Yes. And if they're very comfortable doing them, I'm all for it, so long as it's a productive kick.
I used to have a crack. I used to have a shot at them, and some did and some didn't work. But every time I lined up for it,
how many worked?
I don't know, half and half. But in the back of my mind was the fact that I'm taking a huge risk here because you know you're never sure about it. But I think it's a justifiable risk.
But it's a kick for goal and it's a kick out of goal. It's a kick. Dustin Fletcher does it beautifully. In a pack, picks it up and whacks it 55 metres from one step. Outside of that, direction then is questionable.
Have we solved this issue of flooding? We know that the Laws panel met and they've encouraged umpires to hurry it on. I think that the umpires would make it even more. They'd make players kick it on pretty much quicker if they could only just call play on. No one has been given a free kick yet, which gets us back to the position. Have we solved flooding?
Well, that doesn't solve flooding. 15 metres doesn't solve flooding. The simple fact is premiership sides won't come from a flooding side.
And that's as good a reason any to get rid of flooding, I would have thought. 24 games of the season has been floated, and Mick, I read your comments in the paper over the past 2 days with interest. I just want, Jim, from your perspective, I get a feeling that your thoughts on this may have changed over the last 3 or 4 years. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
are you for or against the 24 games?
I'm actually against 24 games. I reckon that 22 games is good. I think that less would be better. I think that if you could possibly, I think if you could play each other once and then switch it around the next year to obviously
15 games.
15 games, but obviously that's not going to happen because the economic factors rule that out. Clubs reckon they can't survive. TV stations reckon they.
Would you take a pay cut to make it survive?
I think the majority of players would take a small pay cut, Jared. Probably not. No, probably most players wouldn't take a pay cut. But for the longevity of the players, there needs to be the lessening of a season rather than increasing. Because how many players play every game? I would say 5 or 6 from every team.
And Mick, in the NFL, they have a 16-round season. We copy most things American at the AFL level. Why wouldn't we make every game mean so much more than it does at the moment, and even more if we went to a 24-game season?
I'll come out of left field here. I've always advocated 24 players. I think you should strip the list. The whole list should strip. And we have 24 games. Because then you would find that you talk about fatigue, you have got specialists for kicking long goals. You've got specialists to come on for 5, 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever the case may be. And that's out of left field.
Strip the list. What do you...
The whole list strips for the game.
The whole 30...
Why not? 8. I've been advocating 24 and no one's listened, so I've gone...
Like an NFL situation with 38 on the bench.
Well, and you have your 24 games.
Oh, there's one. Any support?
I think if it keeps the players playing longer, the older players playing longer, it's an excellent idea.
Yes or no on the 24?
Oh, I'm not a 24-round person. I'm more with you, 15. Screw it back to 15. But this is interesting. If Mick got his list of 36 to strip at the MCG, they'd fill it every week.
Indeed they would. Split the difference for 20, but I reckon it's an issue that's still got plenty of debate in it. We will take a break. There's been some big milestones this year in the AFL, and it's been the season so far.
The final word.
What are those clowns doing? They're certainly not what you would call your average bloke.
But the footy show has the last laugh.
And we've been saying it for years. You would know.
Don't miss the latest, 9:30 Thursday on Channel 9.
Albert Ben Simon from Shields. Sales towards the end of the financial year.
Batten down the hatches because the Shields stock take sale is on now. Sale into Shields for 9-carat padlock bracelets up to 60% off. Sale into Shields for a huge range of diamond rings up to 60% off. And sale into Shields for up to 68% off a massive selection of Jag fashion watches. The Shields stock take sale is... If you miss this sale, you'll keel over.
The bad news, Hi-Fi Acoustics in liquidation. And the building is sold. The good news, Truscott Hi-Fi buys the stock. And with our warehouse clearance lines, reductions hit up to 40%. Huge range of TVs, rear projection TVs, VCRs, DVDs, Hi-Fis, speakers, receivers, and home theatre systems. Big savings at all stores until stock sold out. Truscott Hi-Fi, Adelaide's lowest prices with up to 24 months interest-free terms.
Telstra Mobile's holding a winter sale. Connect before June 30 and you can pick up a brand new mobile phone for $0, like the Nokia 3310 on a $25 mobile plan. For full details, visit your Telstra shop or Telstra MobileNet dealer today.
It's my job at Campbell's Soups to get people to eat more veggies. Or my neck's on the chopping block. How's the new Campbell's Relish range going?
I'll check with the lab. Yummy.
It's the herbs.
Superb.
Fresh veggies, yeah. We've made veggies taste better than ever.
I'll tell marketing to spread the word.
Campbell's Relish. Vegetables made delish.
Campbell's. It's all good.
The Honda Civic is now fully equipped with alloys, ABS, CD, air and dual airbags. For just $24,950, it's once-in-a-lifetime value.
During the last 3 days of the Harriscarf Stocktake sale, take an extra 25% off already reduced prices store-wide. Take an incredible 25% off already reduced men's, women's and children's clothing and homewares. Like this Arca Steel cooker now a fantastic $67.45. Take an extra 25% off Manchester and furnishings. These Supertex towels now an amazing $11.95. And take an extra 25% off cosmetics and women's footwear. Like these candy boots now just $41.97. With an extra 25% off already reduced prices, you'd better tear in during the next 3 days.
It's the biggest, it's the best. The biggest and best June sale ever now at Beaumont Tiles. With every tile reduced to clear. Not just a few to suck you in, but every single tile. Sale ends soon, so hurry. Beaumont Tiles.
Channel 9's Friday Night Football. Neck to neck. Hot contenders, the Bombers and the Demons in the blockbuster that could make or break their premiership dreams. Essendon versus Melbourne at 8:30.
Well, on your bike, said the runner to Plugger.
In the dying moments of the game, the Dockers have come from behind to pull up a big win.
Ackermanis. Oh, is he going to run past Johnson? This will really put salt into the wound. It's coming back! Ackermanis has got 4.
Riccardi's away. Runners on this side. Goes to Ablett, 40 metres out. Lines up. It gets the goal.
Here he is here, the skipper. That's a very ugly sight.
Well, they do get restless up here. There was some boos when Rodney Eade walked on.
Yeah, I haven't seen that here before, Dermot.
Tap over the back. Davis runs onto it, shrugs the tackle, gives it off to Milne. Thought about the handball. Now the right foot banana around the corner, the impossible. And he has nailed it.
And there's some of the great headlines, Monday headlines in the season so far, and the creativity, the sub-editors, I think, is always something we look forward to at the end of every weekend. And Gary, I've just got a funny feeling that the discussion we had in the last break, and Mick's offering just prior to that is going to make some news.
It will make news if we see 38 players stripped next time the pies run out, and it's one to discuss at length at some stage in the future, but we've got to push on and turn our attention to the Brownlow Medal. It remains the most prestigious award, individual award in AFL footy. How much longer, I'm not sure, with the coach's medal and the MVP, but right now, these are the Brownlow Medal odds, the favourites, and we know that there are a few who are ineligible, and we'll speak about that shortly. But James, you're more qualified than Mick and I, along with Jared, having won a Brownlow Medal. Who do you fancy?
I've seen Jason Johnson firsthand. He's had a terrific year, so hard at the ball and played week in, week out. Fantastic footy. But the one that might just get under him, in my mind, has been Cousins. He has been inspirational for his side and really dominated the games he's played in.
Well, Nigel Lappin's the unlucky one, Gary. I think he was having an outstanding year, but you miss 3 or 4 games, you'd want to really come back on fire if he's to take out that award.
Well, let's have a look at some of the favourites and have a look at them in action and share your thoughts, gentlemen, as we wind our way along. And a proven winner, a proven vote catcher in a side that haven't had too many standout players. I think Shane Crawford would be have racked up quite a few, Mick.
Best year certainly since he's won the Brownlow, and dynamic. And he hasn't got people taking votes off him either.
I reckon it's an even better year than when he won the Brownlow. He's matured as a man and as a leader. He's firing when your leaders need to fire, and that's when the side's under the pump.
Can Nathan Buckley win it, Mick? I mean, we know he can, but he's had big years in the past and perhaps hasn't got the votes.
He hasn't got the votes. No, some players do win a lot of votes. I think Nathan, this wouldn't be his best year, but nonetheless, he still has dominated certain games.
Ben Cousins from the West Coast Eagles, a bit like Shane Crawford, I think. He's a proven vote winner, and last year in a disappointing season got plenty of votes.
Look, he is, and I think he's had a little bit better season than Shane, not taking any away from Shane Crawford's season, but the way he dominates in the midfield and gets forward and kicks so many goals for the West Coast Eagles, and really, the game against Carlton a couple of weeks ago was inspirational and drove that side over the line at the end. And this sort of running, where he just bursts away from packs, and he's so hard to stop.
It is known as a midfielder's medal, and well, I reckon Josh Franco, if that is the fact, has got to be a chance. But part of it is getting recognition. He was close to All-Australian last year, Josh Franco, and again, he's had a very good year, in fact, a better year.
I'm just wondering about the umpiring selection sometimes. You know, they see... Predominantly, they'll see Melbourne-based sides play here, and I'm just wondering how many times they would see Josh Franco. And it does take a fair time for players to actually get the confidence of umpires. Not saying that there's a bias or anything, but Josh Franco, to me, has had a wonderful year.
Adam Simpson, we've spoken about him. He has had the most kicks in the competition, which suggests that he's under the umpire's nose. He plays in the middle of the ground. He's an unobtrusive sort of player, but I think as the season rolls on, the recognition he's getting is going to help him. Well,
I think part of it is you've got to get public recognition. Brent Harvey is starting to loom, but he was on the bench in Canberra only a few weeks ago, and I think he would really struggle to get the major award. But you've got to get public recognition, Hurdy. That's part and parcel of it.
It is, but he does catch the eye with the goals he kicks. I think that the goals he kicks are somewhat freakish and definitely eye-catching.
Last year, Ackermanis pinched votes off Andrew McLeod, and also I think Michael Voss was up there. They're going to have 2 up there again, I think, in Lappin and Black. Can both players still amass enough votes, Mick, to get them across the line?
Lappin, yes. I think, again, getting back to what James said, someone who carries the football. Anyone who carries the football automatically attracts attention. They don't necessarily have to kick it as often, but they carry it more and they're in their zone.
The year Peter Moore won his second Brownlow, Gary, Robert Flower came third. So I think it is possible to do it. This guy, minus the dreadlocks now, combines so well in that midfield that it is difficult to see them sharing the votes. But Simon Black, well, he's a player that's just struggling a little bit with injury over the last month, a little bit like Nathan Buckley.
Is he too sublime at times? Can he be too slick for an umpire, Simon Black?
Absolutely. Those sort of players can be because they do hand off and they don't carry the football. That's what we're talking about.
Jason Johnson
does not so much sublime. He's just straight out and straight through blokes. But his skill level this year, I think, has increased. I think his ability to kick goals, he's probably, I'm not sure how many more goals, but he's definitely kicked more goals than last year. And goals from midfield is what catches the eye of an umpire. Speaking
of goals, this bloke kicks plenty of them. His first month was quiet, probably poor. But since then, he has just been a dynamo in the middle of the ground. In round 12, he was at it again, would have got votes. And Brad Johnson, well, he is finally getting the credit that some people wouldn't afford him. And I've got no doubt that he's going to be very close again this year.
Yeah, he's had a super year. Boys, I'm going to ask for a quick tip. I'll just throw one in that we haven't seen, who I like, and it's Peter Bell. He gets plenty of the footy. They're winning a few more games. I think he's some sort of chance. I like Black, but I've taken on board your tips, and I'll just might readjust. Mick, but you?
Cousins or Crawford.
I'll take Jason Johnson then, a mixed taking Cousins.
Yeah, I'm Cousins or Nigel Lappin. I reckon Lappin is on fire.
Can we have a situation where the man who gets the most votes doesn't get the medal? We've had some big names, of course, who have been rubbed out, which has raised the whole issue about the voting system and whether or not eligibility or fairness should be a big factor. Personally, I like it.
As it is?
I like it as it is.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Gary. I think a ball player like Andrew McLeod shouldn't be ineligible for something like this. Now,
He's been suspended.
Yeah,
for that,
I understand that.
And he's charging, and he's outside the rules.
Yeah, it is outside the rules. But I don't think when they established the rules, they expected there to be video cameras and 17 umpires, etc. And I think that such a player should be still eligible.
But hasn't he served his penance?
Yep.
That's the way I look at it. And now tell me, do you think that the umpires know that he is now ineligible and therefore will hold back on votes?
Well, I think they're instructed to give him votes.
Well...
Whether they do or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you say he served his penance. He did. He can win the MVP. He can win a whole host of other media awards. This is, I know, and that's why it is. That's why these two gentlemen are so exceptional.
No, I just think when the lawmakers sat down to write the laws, they didn't intend to have Andrew McLeod miss out because of an innocuous bump like that.
Had he been carted off on a stretcher, that player, with a broken cheekbone, you'd be saying he deserved his right way. Anyway, we've got to move on. You got the final word?
It's all right. As usual, you've got the car park out there. You've got the final word.
We will continue the debate when we have a look at an all-Australian side after this break, but occasionally in this great game of ours, we can have a bit of a laugh.
Body rock, y'all, so let's rock, y'all. Nod back, y'all, to the beat, y'all. The body rock, y'all, so let's rock, y'all. Nod back, y'all, to the beat, y'all. The body rock, y'all, so let's rock, y'all. Nod back, y'all, to the beat, y'all. The body rock, y'all, so let's rock, y'all. Nod back, y'all, to the beat, y'all. The body rock, y'all, so let's rock, y'all. Nod back, y'all, to the beat, y'all. The body rock, y'all, so let's rock, y'all. Nod back, y'all, to the beat, y'all. The body rock, y'all, so let's rock, y'all. Nod back, y'all.
Is this news break brought to you by Bank SA?
Yeah, Dad. Hello again. Port Lincoln Mayor Peter Davis may face criminal charges over comments he made about asylum seekers. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Paul Rofe, has asked police to investigate whether Mr. Davis has breached the Racial Vilification Act. The mayor outraged refugee groups by saying illegal immigrants should be shot if they misbehaved. And America's space shuttle fleet has been grounded because of safety concerns. Mechanics have found cracks in fuel lines. Investigators are trying to find out what's caused the problem. The next shuttle flight was scheduled for next month.
More Australians get their news from Channel 9 than from any other source.
Yes, I think
Business units. Now, if everyone would turn to page 7.
For a great lineup of communication services, choose Primus Telecom.
This week's special buys from Woolworths will stop you in your tracks. 1.5 kilo or 1.5 litre Fab, Cold Power or Dynamo, just $4.98 each. Save up to $1.98. This special buy is only available at Woolworths and only while stocks last.
I know my family needs plenty of fresh, clean drinking water. Puretap saves me money and provides an unlimited supply of pure, clean, great-tasting water in my kitchen. Call Puretap now for the purest water on tap.
Wherever I go, whatever I do, I know in my heart I'll never be far apart from you. Though the years roll by, you see me through and be with me all my life. Whatever I do.
Cheapest chips, heart-shaped candle holders, only $2, or large candle holders, just $2.95. Great designs. Relax with this aromatherapy 2-candle set, a crazy $6.95. Or this aromatherapy candle, just $2.95. Trendy hand-painted vases, only $4.95. Great designs. Sturdy 65-litre wheelbarrow, a bargain at $39 with pneumatic tyre. Pop-up laundry bag, a crazy $4.95. Fold away for easy storage. Recordable 80-minute gold laser disc, pack of 20, $12.95. There's always something new at Cheapest Chips.
È difficile essere divertenti ogni sera in cucina, ma non se si usa il sugo autentico bolognese della Legos. Non lo schiaffano mica nei vasetti così, no, no, no. Si cuoce a fuoco lento per strani ricco sapore italiano. Scusi, Legos. Se stritti gli occhi, leggi quasi Logis.
Business units. Now, if everyone would turn to page 7.
For a great lineup of communication services, choose Primus Telecom.
It's sad. It's really sad.
Ripping off retirees.
They're frightening people into compliance.
Massive overcharging and hidden costs.
They can get away with almost anything.
Leaving their nest egg in ruins. A current affair tomorrow, 6:30.
Good work, Jim. You have played this year. Welcome back to the season so far. It's been a heated ad break. The All-Australian team about to be announced. Stay tuned for that one. But before we do, let's have a look at some of the goals of the year.
Mercuria trying to get the handball out. Davis paddles it forward. Tries again. Davis! Davis! Goal!
Nigel Smart kicks looking for Burton. Beautiful recovery. Steps around. Shot on goal. Magnificent.
Wellman kicks it straight down the throat of his teammate. In Johnson, he missed it. From fullback to full forward with a twist as well. Goes to ground, knocks it out. Roden goes again. The two youngsters combining close to the boundary line. Roden's kick is a beauty for goal! An absolute beauty for his first goal in football.
Clayton concedes some ground, back to Pickett, who loads up with a spot on top, and only pops it through. Can't control it, Pickett can, he's away. He's had two bounces. Now third, runs to 40 metres, down to 30. Oh, put down your glasses. Fantastic piece of play, kick ball. Ball going in favour of the Bulldogs. Roberts, it's a good-looking kick. That really hurts on three-quarter time.
To the boundary line, as you'd expect. It goes across the line. I thought it did. Bateman, hurry, kick. Good-looking kick. That's the Wheeler. What a kick. Chance Bateman.
Ball comes out towards Mirapunda. Goes through Whitley. He bounces off him. He turns around. He's very clever. Off one step, has he done enough? Oh, that is an outstanding goal by David Mirapunda.
Archer with sheer strength. Brilliant! That is absolute typical Glenn Archer.
Goes wide, looking for Crow, got the bounce he wanted, wants to take on his opponent around the corner. Great kick! Goal of the day!
Amongst it, Capuano and Bill, the best stepper of the business. 1, 2, Reed's moved out to goal! He is the best at that.
Still inside their forward 50. A chance to atone for Pavlich. Oh, can he do it? Oh, yes, he can!
Terrific return, 3 goals. They lead by 30. Crawford through the middle, no one coming at him off half-back. This is a handed to him on a plate, thank you very much. 2 easy Hawks, Crawford has 3. Cracker in the pocket, clever, he kicked a goal! Sensational play from Andrew Cracker.
Houlihan has been explosive. Hugging the boundary line, he runs himself 50, he has a shot at the goal, and he's kicked it! He's kicked his side! Third from the corner!
Dan Hodgins will go at it, Fletcher did well, should have got a free road. This is his last man! He's kicked a goal from nothing!
It's a concession. McCartney taken down. Chance for Pickett. Archer's the back. Stumbling. Still it goes. 30 metres out. Quick goal. Again, this back line under pressure. Cracker deep in the pocket. What can he conjure? Magnificent. Unbelievable.
The Kangaroos goal. Rocker! Byron Pickett kicks his toe!
Delivers again for Green. It was too hot. The K. Oh, he's barged his way through. The
Yeah, the big marks and the big goals. They're the reasons we've been going to the footy in the season so far. And they're also the reasons why players put their names up for selection in the All-Australian side. And whilst there's been a fair bit of debate about the goals of the year to date, David Roden, Chance Baton, Mick likes Byron Pickett's number of goals, and Andrew Cracker, there's been plenty of debate about the All-Australian side. Gary and I got together a couple of weeks ago, and this is what we've come up with. From the back line at the halfway mark of the season so far, Glenn Archer has grabbed one back pocket, an outstanding start to the season and maintained his form. Dustin Fletcher, the best fullback so far this season, and Adam Kingsley from Port Power.
This is a collaborative effort, of course. I should stress that. Martin Pike, I think, what a story he's been. 3 clubs, best and fairest dual premiership player and having his best year. Justin Leppich, well, it was a toss-up. He or Pavlich. Leppich got the nod. And Kane Johnson, well, perhaps hasn't played a heap of footy on the half-back flank, but he deserves a spot in this side.
Yeah, we'll find out how much collaboration when we'll have a look at who's named coach. But Simpson, he's been pushed out to the middle, but he was just one of the midfielders. Black and Nigel Lappin, I think all those 3 players need little explanation.
Yeah, indeed. Warren Tredrea is the standout centre-half forward in the competition, and he's got pretty fair support on either side. Andrew McLeod could play anywhere and make you look pretty smart and an inspired choice. And Mark Rasciuto spent enough time at half-forward for mine to also get in this side.
And at full forward, and a bit of controversy about this one, but Brad Johnson, clearly one of the best small forwards in the competition. Anthony Rocker, we'll get to him very shortly, but he is the gets the nod at full forward, and Ben Cousins, one of the Brownlow medal favourites in the forward pocket.
Primus or Luke Darcy and Jeff White made a bold showing on the weekend. Unfortunately, Jeffrey had to have this side in before yesterday. Jason Johnson also, you've heard from
round
James
12
Hurd.
didn't count.
It did, but we thought the Primus today might have been very good. I hope he was. And Shane Crawford, he was first picked in this side.
And finally, for those all-important bench positions, and we've stuck to just the 4 players. Mick wanted to go to 8. In fact, he wanted to go to 36. But we went with Buckley, Franku, Voss and Darcy, and not a finer bench has been named anywhere.
I doubt it, but now's the time to put up that whole side and let these 2 gentlemen here, James Hurd and Mick Moldhouse, pick the eyes out of it, boys. And I know you've got a bit to say, James. You weren't happy as that side went up.
No, I just reckon that bench is probably the best bench ever assembled. Michael Voss and Nathan Buckley would be on the ground within 30 seconds,
well, we
I reckon.
need 2 to come
Any
off then.
coach. And then I would reckon that Mark Johnson deserves a side in the back line, Gary.
So Kingsley not deserve it?
Well, I think that Mark Johnson deserves a spot in the back line, Jared.
What about you, Mick? Other than the extraordinary nomination of coach.
Yes, I noticed that. That's amazing, isn't it? That's a good one. It's a good one. What's the record?
The record is 2-0.
It's actually love down. And if he doesn't get a win, if he doesn't get a win in Ireland, we're going to have to bring out the long blade.
I'd be happy to take that side with me wherever I was going.
Yeah, Warren Tredrea plays basically 30 metres out. I know he covers a lot of ground. Anthony plays in front of him. I could see those 2 blokes swapping. As far as the actual players that come in, how can you argue against that group there? That's a terrific group of people. And the good thing about it, I think you have rewarded Kingsley because of being a very, very good footballer this year. And sometimes I think that we get a little bit clouded on not seeing a lot of those players, particularly when they come from sides outside of Victoria.
I get the feeling, Mick, that you believe there's a fair bit of bias against interstate sides. It's twice you've mentioned it, once with the Brownlow and once with All-Australian.
It's not a bias that's intended. I think it's just the fact is that the basic of the game, the headquarters are here, and you guys probably don't see a lot of those players play on a week-to-week basis.
Interesting, Lee Matthews is of the same view. What about Anthony Rocker at full forward? Ken Kingsley's kicked 39 goals, Gary.
Yes, well, I'm not sure what the policy is from an All-Australian point of view. Kick the most goals you get in the All-Australian side. I've got to go to a break. Is that the criteria that you're laying down
No,
for
it's
us?
not, but one bloke's kicked twice as many as another, and you've got him in.
One bloke can play up and down. You've heard from the coach. He's happy with the decision. End of discussion. We'll take a break. After the break, we will try and find you a premiership winner. You've been watching the season so far.
Never-ending battle begins here. An electrifying television premiere.
So what are you, man or Superman.
Smallville, 7:30 Tuesday on 9.
Do you open the door? Or let her open it herself? Do you make the first move? Or wait to be asked? Are you a lad? Or a snag? Do you pay? Or do you go Dutch? Do you make something of it? Or do you just keep walking? Do you stay? Or do you go? Do you change? Or do you stay true?
You know why we call this...
Noble Rise Crunchy Toast, now in a fruit loaf. Extra crispy and crunchy on the outside, deliciously soft and fruity on the inside. Its time at rest makes Noble Rise taste best.
Sometimes a family with a child with an intellectual disability needs a break. You can help to provide that break by becoming a host parent through the Interchange program. If you would like to share your home and family with a child for 1 weekend a month, please call Interchange.
Once you pass 50, skincare's a whole new game.
L'Oreal creates age-perfect anti-sagging and ultra-hydrating treatments.
Because mature skin has issues all its own. It starts to sag and needs more moisture.
Age-perfect with dermopeptide is designed to help firm up the fabric of your skin with visible anti-sagging effectiveness. In just 3 weeks, 81% of women reported a visible anti-sagging effect.
It's a major breakthrough for mature skin.
Age-perfect anti-sagging and ultra-hydrating treatment from L'Oreal.
Because you're worth it.
It's Holden's end of financial year with limited edition Vectra Equip, $3,500 extra value. Air, power windows, alloys and more.
This is it. This is it.
Coles Super Specials have red-hot savings. Like Chapman's Middle Bacon, only $7.99 a kilo, save $3.90 a kilo. And Chisels, 125 grams, just 99 cents each, save 58 cents.
Draft salutes more real footy legends of South Australia. If you know of any others and have them on film, send it along with your details to us at the brewery. West End Draft, South Australian footy's #1 supporter.
The World Cup continues live with a place in the final for the team brave enough to take it. Brazil versus Turkey, semi-final action next on 9.
A bit of history here. Lee Matthews has been to the top of the mountain for a second time as coach. Once at Collingwood, and now he's done the impossible. Brisbane have won the premiership.
That is indeed, my boy. That is the proud parents of Jonathan Brown and Craig McRae, I think. And that is what it's all about, after all, an AFL premiership. The Lions, with 10 rounds to go, are looking okay on the top of the ladder. I'd imagine they're still premiership favourites, Jared. How do you see it?
Oh, I think they've got to maintain that position, Gary, as premiership favourites, and they're going to be really tough to beat. I think the only thing that would compromise that would be a continuous run of injuries. We know that Lappin and Voss are struggling, but Port Adelaide, round 12 again, emphasise that they are just getting better and better, and they're going to be tough to stop as well. Essendon, well, that depends on James Hird, how he comes back, along with Mercedes and Matthew Lloyd, of course. But you have a look at the current situation compared to the pre-season, Gary. It's amazing how quickly it can change, and Adelaide would have been one of the most, well, the biggest swings.
The other one would be Collingwood, and Mick, it's probably a tough question, but are you in a position, are you close to winning a flag now than you thought you would be at the start of this season?
I'll use my Malthouse clock.
Yeah.
We are certainly around 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and I reckon you win one between 11 and 1. One when you've just won one and you're on decline. 11 when you're starting to build up towards one. So we're nearing it.
You ever win one at 10?
When I say nearing it, I'm not saying we're nearing a premiership. We're getting our side together.
How many finals do you have to win this year to make it a successful season? Or is it already that?
I think we've got to make the 8 before we start talking about winning finals, Jared. I'm pretty hot on that. We've got to win games to make the 8 first.
Well, I think you can gather from the vision that we've seen so far that it's been a pretty amazing year, and we're only halfway through it, so let's just sit back now and enjoy the year in retrospect.
The days of wondering why are over, because just wanting to take the journey isn't always easy. And for some, the real pain can last a season. While the exploits of on-field philandering were nipped in the bud, a football colossus came back from the afterlife. Events at the game's ground zero came back to remind us that survival skills were an absolute requirement, as one mistake suffered the burden of football opinion. And then a moment when one of football's sons simply sent a message. And so it began, when Air Marshal Sheedy issued flying orders and Jason and James took off. The big orange roughie got back on board, and some of the boys crash-landed. The bombers were grounded on some missions, but they still had their heroes. The top guns are back soon, but don't put away the flak jackets yet. The team from the tropics started the season handing out a few hidings. The kid who got last year's gong got going and broke the curse. Lethal had to apply the liniment when the Lions took a couple of punches. But the bell hasn't rung yet, and if this bloke's fit, it could be back-to-back. Schwabby's been speaking his mind about what's on theirs down at Glenferrie. The skipper picked up plenty of fans and medal boats as young Richie had a dip. The Hawks have got the pit crew to keep the turbo burning. But get on with it, fellas, because the headaches are becoming a real worry. I reckon the Carlton clairvoyant got the message last season, because the promise of things to come for the Blues, well, they didn't really. For when you mix a brew of bad form and bad luck, it tastes crook. And Wayne, we know the vein got a workout, but hang in there, mate. When some things didn't remain the same, it was going to be hard. But courage and commitment runs deep in blue and white quarters, and some making the moments absolutely magnificent. So for North fans, if the old saying's true, then long live the Kings. They don't like hearing about their travel habits way out west, although Troy likes flying and Jacko's fond of a chat. And hang on, the Materas have always been in the act one way or another. Anyway, they've had a bit of fun, and some are just happy to be there. What's red and blue and hot and cold? Yeah, you got it. And what's the saying? If it's no pain, no gain. And fellas, remember this guy? But when the midfield runs through the minefield, it's just good footy. So as the music starts up again, will they dance or just sit this one out? The red and white Mardi Gras saw big Barrys float and got pretty excited. Some swans flapped the wings and in a few games have looked the goods. Inside the fence, it's been just a few points, some hard yards, and more Mylanta, please. No one expected to expect the unexpected, or something like that, as the Saints got pummeled, poleaxed, and put down early. But along came the blonde guy, the ball burglar, and the bloke who went to Bali. Who knows, maybe the second half could become the ride of their lives? Down at the place of skill, Bombers got a bit happening, and there was some interest in that young kid. What's his name? And they're not afraid to put it on the line when it matters. And Pete, will you ever forget that one, mate? In another time zone, there were plenty of Kodak moments and a bit of shock horror for punters on a cloudy night at Colonial. The Roo had good times all over the park, as well as the car park. And when they get it, they've worked out what to do with it. And what's all this about an all-Adelaide final? Ah, nurse, the tablets, please, because the power surges from Port have caused stress by the truckload. And that Warren guy keeps getting his hands on the pill and putting it through. And sometimes you'd reckon they'd bought their own show. Early signs from the red, white and blue weren't all that flash, but the hearts beat big in those Bulldogs, and they've had to plough on, because everyone knows when you look after little things, big things happen. And it's good to see the skipper up where he belongs. Pride's a big part of the very big picture, and the Dockers got some. There's been a few lows, but at the same time, some bloody big highs, as the Fremantle Dr. Connolly gave the team a heart transplant. For one man, plenty of pain, as the Tigers got wounded. And okay, there have been a few sparks with this kid on the block. When they could run, they could fly, and when they couldn't, they didn't. But all they want at Footy's School of Hard Knocks next term is better marks. The beer is tasting better at the Black and White Malt House, as young men opened the lockers of football's fair dinkum. There were leaders, there were leapers, and some who just lit up the game. And for the marching army, do you think there's something coming?
Yeah, it's a great package of the images of the season so far, put together by Peter Wynn. You weren't a big feature in that one, Hurdy.
No.
We haven't long to go. When are we going to see you back on the track?
13 days against the Western Bulldogs, Stuart.
Definitely?
Yes.
Mick, thanks for coming in. Good luck. Big times ahead for the Magpies. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Jared, a quick winner of the year.
Port Adelaide.
We've got to go. The season so far, it's been a beauty. Let's hope the season to come delivers more of the same.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.